Well, hey there. Welcome back to another episode of In the Growth Space podcast. I'm your host, David McGlennon, and today we're going to dive into a topic that is near and dear to my heart. That's the power of rituals and reflection. And I'm going to share how those practices bring momentum. And momentum, of course, is our best friend as a leader. So we're going to explore how yearly, how quarterly, monthly, weekly, morning, daily, evening, and other rituals can set the stage for our success in 2025, and how the law of momentum can power your day and help you achieve the goals that you're setting for yourself. So before we jump in, could I ask you just one small favor, please? Could you go and rate the podcast and just do a quick review? 5 stars would be great. Share just one thing that you like about the podcast. Maybe you like about our guests or an insight that you've gained, something that has been meaningful to you. It would mean the world to me, and that would help us increase the impact that we're making on companies and on teams and on individual leaders like yourself. All right, so rituals. What do you think when you hear that word? For some of you, it might conjure up images of ancient ceremonies, maybe even religious ceremonies. But today, we're going to talk about something a bit more modern and a lot more practical. Rituals are those consistent and intentional activities that you build into your daily routine so that you can set the tone for your day. You can maintain focus for the year. You can create a sense of purpose and structure in your life. And rituals are actions that you take on a regular and repetitive basis. Those rituals, those repetitive basis activities, they ingrain behaviors into habits. So let me start with annual rituals. And one of my rituals here at the end of the year is that I like to reflect on and I like to journal on what I've learned and how I grew this year. And so I'm going to give you some prompts that I use for my annual reflection that might be helpful for you as you think about creating your own rituals around this yearly practice. So my first question is, what have I learned this year? I like to think about what I've learned. I also like to think about how I've grown. How have I grown this year? What were the high points of the year? What good can I harvest from the year, from the wins, the struggles, maybe just the moments that mattered to me? What goals did I accomplish? Who were some great people that I shared time with? How did I spend my time? And how did I invest my life? What changes did I make? What moved me forward towards my goals? What themes emerged for me as I reflect back? What were some tough questions that I got asked this year? What were my blessings this past year? What were the best books that I read? And maybe what impact did they have on me and my behavior? That's taking it one step deeper. What new possibilities will matter most for 2025 as I look ahead? What would I see and hear and feel if my highest self continued to show up? Now, I want to share these questions with you, and I have a short PDF so you can go back and revisit these. You can go to a link that we'll have in the show notes. I'll read it here to you, but definitely go to the show notes. It's rebrand.ly/year-end review. It's kind of a mouthful, but I'll let you go to the show notes and click that, and we'll have those questions for you. Now, as I contemplated those questions, here are some things that surfaced for me. I'm just going to give you some highlights of my reflections. One thing is that I've grown in my ability to be more integrated with my work and my life. I've not been really good up until the past couple of years at allowing myself to have some boundaries around work. You see, I love what I get to do as a coach, and as I get to coach leaders and also facilitate leadership retreats, I just love that. And it's in my strength zone. But this year, I've been better at putting boundaries around the things that I love and where I want to place my energy. One of the places that I've grown too is in putting my annual month-long sabbatical into place in the month of July. I've done that the last 2 years. And that's something that up until 2 years ago, I've never done. Now, I could argue, or you could argue, that I'm at a stage in my life and my career that makes this possible. And that's true. But I really wish that I would have taken more time off earlier in my career to be present and be with my wife and my kids and my family. I think I would have been much more balanced and definitely much more refreshed. Now, a learning this year that came up for me is that I can do pretty much anything that I put my mind to. I just can't do everything that pops into my creative awareness. I've been learning to say no a lot more and a lot more often this year. And to be honest, it's really helped to have Karen help me with my calendar. She's always so good at asking me how something fits into my strategic objectives or my mission, how it fits. And that's really been helpful this year. I've also grown in my awareness of my strength zones this year. And I've been able to facilitate leadership retreats, both in person and online. And that's been something that I've really leaned into, and I have said yes to those things. And even with that, I've focused on getting better at the skill of coaching and the skill of facilitating in and through the exchange community. They have so many other heart-centered and people-centered facilitators that I learned so much from. And I've also learned to ask better questions this year. You know, as I'm around other coaches and people like my friend and collaboration partner, Andy Hall, who's joined me here on this podcast, I've learned to pay attention to the questions that they ask and tune into my intuition and curiosity. That's really helped me to be a more effective coach as I help to bring out and unlock the potential within my own clients and also the leadership teams that I help facilitate. One other thing that I'll share with you is that I've learned that in order for a company to really have a high-performing culture, they need strong leaders who are courageous and at the same time emotionally intelligent. And these are just a few things that surfaced over the last few days as I've just started my cursory reflection on the questions that I offered to you earlier. What are some of your growth areas in the coming year? And then what will you focus on? What will you create as a priority? I would love to know about that. So when you have an opportunity to write them out, if you're willing, share them with me. I'd love to support you through the podcast, either on a future episode or in one of our Inner Circle coaching groups. All right, so I've heard it said that, and I believe this is true, that we don't get our goals, but what we get is the results of our habits. And habits get formed through our rituals and consistency. And rituals, again, are key to our yearly goals and objectives. And so if we want to have results that will achieve these things, we've got to create consistent practices of rituals. And we have to commit to it. We can't do this probably or I'll try language. Commitment means that you treat those practices as if your life depended on it. You do it over and over and over again, even when no one is watching, especially when no one is watching. And I got to tell you, it's not sexy, it's not flashy, but it's what gets results. And a commitment to your rituals that create habits is what will get you where you want to go. Okay, so we've talked about annual rituals, the annual rituals of reflection. And now what I'd like to do is I'd like to cover our more frequent rituals. So break down your year into quarters and select your top 3 goals that you're going to focus on achieving in that quarter. And then at the end of that quarter, reflect on your progress. Then look at your weekly goals and only take your top 3. Don't attempt more than 3. It's okay if you get more than 3, but only 3. And I'd like to invite you to think about having a weekly ritual of reflecting on your week. What went well? What worked? What didn't work? And why? What will you continue? Or what will you change? That reflection process will be so helpful for you as you evaluate your week. Okay, so next, consider our daily rituals. I'm going to start with our morning rituals. How you begin your day often sets the tone for the rest of your day. Think about the difference between waking up to a blaring alarm and hitting snooze 5 times and then rushing through your morning versus waking up calmly, having an intention, and engaging in activities that center around you and ground you to the present moment. That latter scenario, that's what we're aiming for with morning rituals. A powerful morning ritual might include things like meditation, journaling, exercise, or reading. Now for me, I start my day with a time of prayer and meditation. That helps me to clear my mind and to set my intentions for the day. And then I spend some time journaling. I take some time reflecting on my goals and focusing on at least 3 things for which I'm grateful. That practice helps me to feel centered and focused and, quite frankly, ready to tackle my day. Now, I got to say, you don't have to follow my exact routine. The real key is to find what works best for you. Now, maybe you're someone who thrives on a hearty breakfast and a good book to start the day. That's cool. Or perhaps you prefer a high energy workout and some motivational podcasts. Whatever it is, make it intentional and make it consistent. Consistency really is the magic ingredient that turns an activity into a ritual. Now, one of the things I just want to share here at this point is that there's a great book called The Miracle Morning, and it's by a guy by the name of Hal Elrod. And I would encourage you that if you want a really good morning ritual, a good morning routine, that is one that will definitely give it to you. It will give you a structure and a framework to be able to start your day. He uses an acronym called SAVERS. I won't go into it all right now, but go find the book Miracle Morning and by Hal Elrod, and I know you're going to love it. Okay, let's shift gears now and talk about rituals within your day. So these are the activities and habits that keep you on track throughout the day. And so they can be as simple as taking regular breaks to stretch and move around, maybe having dedicated time for deep work, putting your phone on focus mode, or even practicing gratitude in the middle of the day. Now, one of my favorite daily rituals is to set aside a time in the middle of the day for my workout. For me, it's my way to recalibrate and to take a break, and it just gives me energy to get into the rest of my day. So a great daily ritual that I would encourage you and everyone listening to incorporate really is a practice of mindfulness. This can be as simple as just taking a few moments to focus on your breath, notice your breathing, or it could be as involved as a full mindfulness meditation session. It doesn't have to be long, it could be just 10 minutes, maybe even 5 minutes. But the idea is to bring your awareness to the present moment and just reducing stress and increasing your ability to focus on the task at hand. Lastly, let's talk about evening rituals. So just as the morning sets the tone for your day, your evening rituals set the stage for a restful night and a fresh start the next morning. So an effective evening ritual can help you to wind down. It can help you to reflect on your day, and even prepare for tomorrow. So for me, this includes a shutdown ritual that separates my work time from my family time. And then it also has some connection time with my wife, Cindy. And I'm often spending some time reading and reflecting on some things that I'm grateful for that happened in the day. Sometimes I will actually write down my accomplishments and write down moments of gratitude that are particularly powerful for me or particularly top of mind. Because it's easy to forget and to get caught up in what didn't go right and what you still need to do or what you have to do tomorrow. But taking time to acknowledge your successes and what you can be thankful for can really shift your mindset into a positive direction and prepare you for good sleep, good rest, and the next day. All right, so let's now connect these rituals with the law of momentum. Now, the law of momentum is all about building energy and maintaining forward motion. You know, when you consistently engage in your rituals, you're going to create a powerful momentum that drives you towards your goals. Each small action builds on the previous one, and that creates a snowball effect that can lead to significant progress over time. It's just the 1% each day that you want to keep moving forward that compounds. Think of it like pushing a car. You know, at first, it takes a lot of effort to get the car moving, but once it's rolling, it requires much less energy to keep it going. And your rituals will work in the same way. By starting your day with positive and intentional actions, you're going to build momentum that carries you through the rest of your day. Daily rituals keep that momentum going, and that ensures that you stay focused and productive. And evening rituals then help you wind down and prepare to do it all again tomorrow. And it's a continuous cycle that fuels your progress and helps you achieve your goals. To make the most of this, it's really important to be patient and persistent. So building new habits and rituals takes time, and you're not going to see immediate results most likely. But stick with it. Trust in the process and the power of momentum. Over time, you're going to find that these small and consistent actions, they add up to big changes. All right, so as we wrap up today's episode, I just want to leave you with a challenge. Please take some time and reflect on your current routines and identify some areas where you can introduce or maybe even improve your rituals. Just start small and maybe just add one new ritual to your morning, maybe another one to your midday routine, and then another one to your evening. Track your progress and notice how these changes impact your energy, your focus, and your productivity. And I'd also like to invite you to reflect on how you grew this year and what you learned this year. You know, experience is not the best teacher, but evaluated experience is. So evaluate your year and then set your sights on that next big mountain that you want to climb. Remember, the power of rituals and the law of momentum can transform your life, but it all starts with that first step. So take it. Start building those rituals. Harness that momentum and watch as you move closer to your goals each and every day. And most importantly, enjoy the journey. You know, life goes by really, really fast, and we can miss a lot if we don't pay attention and enjoy each moment. So thank you so much for joining me today and really this year in the Growth Space podcast here on the podcast. If you found this episode helpful, I'd love it if you shared it with somebody who could benefit from the power of rituals. And as always, keep growing, keep learning, keep pushing towards your potential. And until next time, be well.